Hey guys, so welcome to my channel. So in this video we are going to continue Python tutorial series part 8. So let's get started. So what we are going to learn today? Well, we are going to learn about tuples. What are tuples? Well, basically this is another kind of list. But here what you do is you can't change the order, or simply you can't do any kind of changes in it, like it is not mutable. So what does it mean by mutable? So let's see it with an example. First, let's learn about how to create a tuple. So for creating a tuple, it is same as list, but what you have to do is, instead of using square brackets, you have to use these parentheses. So what I do is, if I type a equals to, and then I create a tuple like something like this. So I have created a tuple, and now if I will print it, so it is going to be printed same as list. And if I print the type of the tuple, so let's see what it will do. So here you can see we have got a tuple, and a tuple is basically represented in parentheses instead of squarely brackets. And now what did I mean by mutable is that in list you can change the elements, but if I do the same thing in tuples, like if I do a equals to like a, and then suppose I want to change an element that is in the second place, that is simply at position 1. So if I try to change it, so it is going to give me an error. So let's see how. Here you can see I have got an error. Why? Because tuples are not mutable, which simply means that you can't change the elements of a tuple directly. Well, you might be thinking like, why then we are using it? So there are some reasons for it. Well, suppose sometimes you have some values in your list that you don't want to change it, so you want some kind of data structure in which you can simply store it and you don't have to worry that it will get changed. So at that point tuples may be used. For example, suppose in a list you have some essential values of something like pi, or some kind of special numbers which are really important for your program. So what you do is you use tuple to store them instead of storing it in the list. So even by mistake somehow you try to change that element's value, so it won't be changed, and that's how it works. Now we have some useful functions here. So first function is length. Well, obviously you know about length. Well, I taught about in list, but for a recap, let me tell you. So a length is a function which will simply give you the number of elements that are present in your list tuples. So if I do Python and then run this, so it is giving me 4. Why? Because I have 4 elements in my tuple. So it is also used in strings too, like if I had a string and if I used the length there, so it would have given me the length of the string. So now what is the next function? It is max. Well, it means simply maximum. So if I do something like I print max, so it will give me the maximum element that is there in my tuple. And then I have min function, which obviously you will know that if I give minimum, it will give me the minimum value that is available in that tuple. And then we have things like sorted. Well, I have taught you about sort, but what is sorted? Well, it is same as sort, but this time instead of sorting internally, it will return all the values back to some variable. So what does it mean by that? So if I do something like b equals to sorted and then a, so what is going to happen is that it will give me a list of sorted element. Well, yeah, you heard right, that it will give me a list instead of tuple. So let's first run the program and see how does it look. So here you can see in the first line, okay, I forgot to print it, so let's print it. So now let's run again. So here you can see in the first line we have length, then in second line we have the maximum element, that is the biggest element that we have present in the tuple, and then we have the lowest element that is present in the tuple, and then we have the list of sorted elements. So here you can see 776 was there, but now it is here, so it simply means it got sorted. But now you are thinking like, we learned about sort, so why we have to learn about sorted? So simply because in sort you have to do changes internally. Like for example, if I take let me delete this. So for example, if I take a list, and what do I do is I simply paste this, and now if I simply do c.sort, and now if I will print it, so here you can see, here we have got a list. Basically the list itself got sorted, we didn't need to create another list. But in things like sorted, if you do the same thing, like if I do d is equals to sorted and then I give c is as a value, and then I try to print it, then only I will get value. But now if I make another list of the same elements with same order, like if I do e equals to and now if I do d is equals to e dot sort, and then I print d, so here you will see something interesting. Here instead of getting sorted list, what I got is something else. It is showing me none, which means this element d has no value, any kind of value. So what does it mean by that is that whenever you are using sorted, so it is not simply sorting the list itself. Like here I have used sorted c, so what it is doing is it is not sorting c, what it is doing is it is making another list, and it store the elements after sorting that were there in this variable named C, and then it gives it to D. So now simply D is a list with the sorted elements that were present in C. But in E.sort, what we do is that we actually sort the element, the list E itself. So instead of now it returning any value to D, what it will do is it will sort the element E itself. So what does happen is that the element E itself got sorted. So if I print E, so here you can see E itself got sorted. The order was not like this, but now it is completely sorted. So what we can understand with it is that sort is something that do its work internally on the element itself, and sorted is something that creates another list and store the sorted elements in that. So now, why can't we use sort A.sort in it? So let's try to do this, and now print it. So now if I will run the program again, so here you can see it returned me an error. Why? Because we can't sort A, because A is a tuple and we can't do any kind of changes in a tuple. So that's how sort works. And there is another thing is that you can make a tuple with tuple keyword also. So now suppose if I have things like this, if I want to make a tuple, so I can make it like this. I can use double parenthesis and then I can make it like this. Well, here what I want to tell you is that it's not hard to make a tuple with tuple class. What I want to tell you is that why did we need to use double parenthesis? So there is a reason. Here we have your tuple, but now if I do the same thing in a different way, like instead of using this whole double parenthesis, if I do it in single parenthesis, so what will happen? Let's see. So here you can see, here it is saying that tuple it wanted one argument, but what I did is I give it 3 arguments. So what does it mean? That is that it counted all these 3 elements individually, like it didn't consider it as a tuple. It considered it as element 1 and then element 2 and then element 3, instead of counting it as whole, which was done in the topmost line, like it was counted as the whole. But here it is being counted as separately, and then it gave me an error that it is not a valid way to do it, so kindly keep it in mind. So now we are left with indexing. Well, simply if I will tell you about tuples, so if you remove one feature of list, that is it is mutable, so then you get a tuple. So here we are doing the same thing that we did in list. Here also indexing works. Here is the positive indexing, here is the negative indexing, and then here we have an example of how it is being done. So let's paste it here. So if I run it, so here you can see it is doing the same work as it did from something like a list using range function. And now we have another thing to do is slicing. So suppose what you want to do is you want to get this part only in a separate list. So what you will do is you will do slicing. So if I do something like I would go from 0 and then till where I want. So I want till 44. So 44 is at position 1. So here you can see according to indexing, first comes 0 then 1. I want till something like 1 from starting from 0. So I will put 2. Well, what the heck? What does happen? So what happened is that if you are doing something like slicing, so what will happen is that you will get a list and it will have one less element than the range you have provided. So it starts from 0 but it will end till 1 instead of ending at 2. So what does it mean? That it starts from 0 place and then it goes to 1, but the thing is that it is not counting going to 2. So let's see how it looks now. First let's give a print statement too. So here you can see I got a tuple with 2 elements that were at 0 position and 1 position, and that's how slicing works. Well, simply it will do a slice, like it will take a slice of that tuple or list and it will give you that slice into another variable. So now if I want to do something like I just want only 44 and 1, 2, 3 in my list. So how can I do that? So for that let's try to do something. So this time what I will do is I won't provide starting and ending element, but I will provide steps. Well, what does the steps are? So you have a range function 2 in which I taught you about, like there is a starting function, then there is an ending position, then there is a step. So in the range what happen is that it will start from somewhere, then it will end one step before whatever the ending value you gave. And in steps you can simply tell like how many elements to jump. So in steps, if I provide 2, so instead of going to like first element then second element, it will go to something like it will go to first element, then for 2 steps it will go 1 and then 2. So after 2 steps it is at 11, so it will take this, and after that it will neglect this one and it will go to the next one if there was in this tuple at this moment. So let's print this and see what we get. So here you can see we have got 123 and 11. Right. So now if I want to, suppose I want to get 44 and 123 instead of getting 123 and 11, so how can I do that? So for that you have to simply use A, and I would do, instead of providing nothing, I will give 1 as starting place, and then I will leave the ending position and I will give 2. So whenever I am leaving the position, so by default if I leave the position of starting, so it will count, it will understand that we have to start from 0 position, and if I leave the ending position 2, so it will understand that we have to go till the end. And here if I would have not provided steps also, so it would have literally gone from one element, then to second element, and then to third element, and then fourth element. So that's how slicing works. Now if I print this too, so here you can see I have got 44 and 123. So that's all about slicing. Well, it is simply providing range like thing, but in this time it is in much shorter way, like it is a one-liner, and earlier we have to do something like we have to write a 2-line of code in which we have to do something like for making a list we have to write something like suppose I want to make a list with range, for loop and range. So what I had to do is I had to like do this, and I have to first define a variable like lis, which was to something, or if the and we are like working on tuple, so let's work instead of using list we use tuple, so we use this. And now if I do something like let's not use tuple, use list, because yeah, obviously it will give me an error. So if I do something like a dot list dot append, and now what I do is I give something like I will do e, and then I will define like take this element, and now if I will print it, not a, I mean list, so I can get it here. So what happened is that I have to now again convert this list again to some like tuple. So list is equals to list tuple, and then I will type list again. So now it will be converted into tuple, and now I can get the whole tuple. But it is not a good way to do it. Like literally I have to write something like a 4-line of code to do the same thing. But instead of doing that, what I would have did is that I would have simply dot list and then a, and then I would have did something like this, and now voila, I have got a tuple in simply one-liner. So that's how slicing works. It is very useful when you want to create some kind of list or tuple from another list and tuple, and with some specific conditions, like some very easy to understand patterns like this. So you can use slicing in your code so that you save upon lines, and that's how it works. So now adding two tuples. Well, you are going to say what? We learned like tuples can't be mutable. Yeah, tuples are not mutable, but the thing is that you can still do addition in. So if I have tuple A and we have another tuple like b, and what I do is I would simply write something in it. Like here I will give some random values. So here I have some random values, and what I want to do is I want to get a tuple c which contains both elements like of a and of b too. So what I can do is I can simply do something like c is equals to a plus b. So what will happen is that I will add these two tuples and it will assign the new tuple to c. So if I'll print c, so here we got like added tuple. So another thing that I would like to tell you is unpacking. Well, what we do in unpacking, well, it is a small thing. So what we can do in unpacking is that suppose we have a tuple like a, and then what we want to do is we want to get some like the specific values of tuple in some variables. Like we have here the value of pi, that is 3.14, and then we have the value of prime number, which is actually even, the only prime number that is even. So how can we get that? So for you can use something like pi is equals to something like a and 0, and then so another is like even p is equals to something like a and then 1. But what if we can do in a single line? So here we are doing it in a single line. Here what I am doing is I am doing simply unpacking of tuples. So what I did is I simply wrote the variables in which I want to assign that element's value. Like if I want to assign 3.14 in pi, so I have wrote in first place because 3.14 is in the first place, and then in second place I have 2, so I have wrote even prime as second variable for getting the 2 as value in it. So if I'll do print pi, so it will print me the value as 3.14, and then we have even prime in which we will get 2 as the value. So if I run it, so here you can see I have 3.14 and 2 as the value. So that's how you can do unpacking of tuples. That's all for this video. I hope you would have liked it. Well, this was simply a kind of a recap of your list. Also, you can think of that. So basically in tuple there is nothing too much like new, because we have covered already all those things in list itself. So it was basically a recap, and how can we use tuple in any of the places. Well, if you want to literally do some kind of changes in tuple itself, so maybe you can convert that tuple into a list and then perform your changes, and then you can convert it back into a tuple. Well, that is another way to do things, but the thing is that tuple is not made for changing its elements, so why will you do that? And if you want to do any kind of changes, so why don't you from the beginning use list? So that's how you can use tuple, and that's all for this video, and I will see you next time. So till then, keep watching and keep growing. Bye.